Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. And this is our very special interview series to help showcase the nonprofit and charity organizations we love and are giving back to through every book we launch. So today I'd love to welcome Lana Fenkanyan to the show. How are you, Lana?
I'm doing really well today. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for being here. I'm happy to chat with you today. I'll shout out really quick Jan Pratt, who is an author of one of the books that we launched this year. She let us know about Lana and the nonprofit that she supports called Ukrainians of Colorado. And so you guys are going to learn a lot about that organization today. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about Lana. She is a second generation Ukrainian and the social media manager for Ukrainians of Colorado. Her first language is Ukrainian as she grew up in that community. All four of her grandparents are from Ukraine, and Lana has plenty of family in Kharkiv. Am I getting that right?
Kharkiv, yeah.
Thank you. And what's the other town?
Lviv.
Thank you. I knew you would say it much better than
Mhm.
me. And she's been supporting all of her family throughout this war, you guys. So Jan reached out and partnered with Lana to help give back. And we love it when our authors do that. So let me tell you a little bit about Jan's book real quick, and then we're going to get into asking Lana a lot of fun questions. But Jan is the author of Amalia Makes a New Friend. And that story starts at Happy Days Elementary when Mr. Bowles' third grade class starts a pen pal program with students from Ukraine. So Amalia corresponds with Vova, a 9-year-old boy who loves to go to school, learn science and how other people live. And he and Amalia exchange a lot of letters. So through their letters, they become great friends. And as they learn about each other's favorite foods and traditions, all of those good things, Russia declares war on Ukraine, and Amalia becomes very worried about her friend, his family, and the people of Ukraine. So you guys, of course, can find out about how Amalia and her third grade class make a difference by helping out in the new book. Lana, tell us a little bit about the story. What's your story here? What matters to you about this?
This is pretty relevant to me in the sense of, for example, I can relate even to the child in this story when I'm speaking to my family in Ukraine. We've kept in contact for a long time, and then when the war broke out, I too, as well as many other Ukrainians, became very worried and concerned for our families over there in Ukraine. So I can personally relate to this because I have felt these emotions and I continue to feel these emotions. And I think it's also a very beautiful way to kind of introduce the scary side of war to children, and to kind of just like the younger mindset, because at that age, it's really difficult to understand really what's going on. But when you put it in connections with like a child is writing a letter to someone else and makes it so personal, it makes it more understandable. And I can only imagine it, like if I was a child and the war began, I would have loved to have this book to read and to be able to connect and just to understand a little bit better, because even for example, like the children aren't in our family here have a difficult time understanding really what's going on. So having such resources for big matters in the world, I think is just very relevant to our times right now, and very important, and also connects in such an emotional way, which I think is important, especially when you're talking about children.
Well, yes, children and adults, right? And I'm
Mhm.
assuming that you sit here and you watch from across the world and that worry and that stress build up. And I wonder, there's one thing that you're doing to help try to support through this organization, which is an action we can take to help relieve some of that stress. But how else are you dealing with that internally? Have you been doing
Um,
okay?
I'm doing okay. Yes, thank you for asking. I think this is definitely a secondary trauma, like post PTSD response for sure, secondary trauma. I feel the pain that my family feels and all Ukrainians feel. When all of this began, I just immediately understood and felt that I needed to do something. And I have, as well as many other Ukrainians, it's a very constant anxiety and worry, especially when they are, 8 or 9 hours ahead. So a lot of the activity that happens is in the evening time here. So we wake up to news, and I every morning I wake up, I read the news. I pray to God like I'm not going to read something horrible. And the days that you do read something horrible, it hits you all over again. So what I do for myself, other outside of Ukrainians of Colorado, is I stay very busy. It's very easy to get lost in the depth of it all, into the whole of war, and we as Ukrainians simply just cannot allow that. If you fall into the hole of depression and sadness and pain, it's okay to feel it for a little bit, but then you need to step out of it because it makes it very difficult to deal with your day-to-day life. So I personally keep myself very busy and very involved. I volunteer, even with other Ukrainians of Colorado events that we share with other people. I show up whenever I can. And it helps with this feeling of filling the feeling of I wish I could do something. So I am doing something just far away. And yes, maybe it'll trickle down and take time to take effect, but at the end of the day, it is very effective and helpful. So the key is to stay busy and keep your mind as clear as you can.
Yeah, really good advice there. Tell us all about Ukrainians of Colorado. I think what I read
Yes.
is that you're shipping medical supplies to the people and the hospitals, but tell us a little bit more about the organization and what's happening there.
Absolutely. So, Ukrainians of Colorado is a nonprofit organization that supports not only soldiers on the front lines of Ukraine and Eastern Ukraine, but we support the villages in Eastern Ukraine specifically that have been very affected by the war, such as Kherson, Dnipropetrovsk, and Zaporizhia. These are regions on the Eastern Front near Russia where soldiers are fighting back with Russians and gaining our villages back little by little. So these villages, for example, have a very difficult time accessing humanitarian needs such as water, food, diapers, like band-aids. So we set a goal that we support these villages with basic humanitarian needs. We also support soldiers in the front lines with medical supplies and tactile gear. And so those are sent. We have volunteers over there just to support those troops. It's very difficult, especially dire times with winter coming. Even they need warm clothing. They need little candles, just in the trenches to be able to see. They need immediate medical backpack gear if anything unfortunate happens, such as a bombing or a shooting. We also support orphanages in the Eastern Front as well in Lviv. We support these children by providing them clothing, providing them food, and some of these orphanages also have a lot of disabled children. So we provide, medical needs in that access. We also support Ukrainian zoos. We are supporting 3 major Ukrainian zoos right now because not only are humans getting affected by this, but animals are as well. And in the midst of all of this, it's very easy to forget that. So we work with 3 zoos to support food for these animals and to continue, so they can continue living their lives as normal as possible. So we work with several organizations to send over medical pallets. Our main thing is medical supplies and clothing for those that need it in the Eastern Front.
So if somebody's listening today, what's the best way to donate or support?
Absolutely. So you can head to our website at ukrainiansofcolorado.org. You'll immediately see a donate now button. You can also head to our Instagram at which is Ukrainians of Colorado, and there's also a link in our bio that can lead you to that website as well.
And we'll have you guys hooked up down below in the notes with all of that. So, how often are you communicating with your family there? What's happening with that?
I am personally in communication with them almost daily. I have several aunts, uncles, and cousins, so I have little groups of pockets. My family personally, that I support is from Kharkiv, and it's one of my grandmother's villages that was unfortunately bombed and obliterated. So my family over there has been displaced to a region nearby known as Poltava. So we pretty much talk. I try to talk to them almost every day, and we are in communication about, they have kids, like their kids are in school. Right now, our conversations are based around like, are they prepared for the winter? Last winter, Russia targeted electrical infrastructure, so there was not a lot of gas or electricity. So we want to make sure that they're fully prepared for the winter, this upcoming winter, so they have generators and all the clothes and medical supplies that they need. So we're in pretty much constant contact. I would try and, like I said, I would say 5 pockets of my family there, and I trade off who I message every day and just checking in. They love to hear about our lives and hearing that our normal lives continue on, and it gives them a little bit of energy and hope that they too can live such a life someday.
Hmm.
So mm.
So you work as social media manager for Ukrainians of Colorado. What's up in that terms in terms of like what you're doing day to day on social? Is there a page? Or is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Tell us about what that is.
Absolutely. So yes, as the social media and marketing manager, I am updating our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter daily. I work, with the president of Ukrainians of Colorado, who sends me updates on, for example, we have communications in Ukraine and a lot of contacts in Poland and Germany where our medical supplies get sent. And they once they deliver it to the soldiers or children, they send us pictures, etc. So I get majority of these emails several times throughout the week, and I spread it out so we can at least make a post every day. So I post on Instagram 1 to 2 times a day, on our story, as well as Facebook and our Twitter. So I kind of just filter through the information that I get, as well as upcoming events that we're having, or other ways that not only Ukrainians but Americans can stay updated, such as like on the political side of things, on what certain bills are being passed, etc. So we try and keep our followers updated daily, at the minimum. So
You know, it goes without saying maybe today that there's a lot going on in the world right now,
mhm.
and everybody is kind of trying to hold their stuff together with all of the stress and traumas and things that we're seeing in the media. From your perspective, what's the most important thing that you want people to know about what you've been involved with this?
I think the most important thing that people need to realize, I think it's twofold. I think the first thing is that though this is not affecting them personally, it's so important to support organizations that are filled with good intentions and love, because I think there is a lack of understanding, in the general population, for example, in America, of the implications of what could happen if Ukraine, for example, were to lose this war. I don't think people understand that if Russia were to win, it would not stop with Ukraine. It would continue on into EU nations, which would eventually turn into World War III. And I think people need to also understand that with what's happening in Israel and Gaza. So I think following that, people need to stay informed as much as they can. It's very difficult to stay informed, and it's difficult to stay motivated, especially when people don't want to read bad news all the time. However, it will affect you eventually if these issues are not uh, if attention isn't brought to these. I also think it's super important that if we really want to not repeat history and to grow as, as humans, we really need to start caring and acting with love. We have a lack of connection and community in the world that we live in nowadays with technology, and I think we need to, if we really want to change history moving forward, we need to care at every point that we can. So for example, even me, if I see something pop up like a GoFundMe for something, it could be for cancer, or some children need clothes, like just donating $1, it goes a long way, and that comes back to you. And if we collectively start doing that and paying more attention and just showing our love and care more, it'll eventually do a domino effect, and it'll turn into a worldwide movement rather than just these small individual movements. I think this has really opened Ukrainians' eyes as well as other people's eyes, like even with like Israel and Gaza, for example, right now, that things can change. Life changes in the matter of an instant, and you don't know what can happen in the next day, and you don't know who you can lose and who you can keep, and life is very precious. And I think acting with love and care at every chance you can is the best way that we can change this world, because the way we are acting right now, we're ignoring bad news and continuing to stay ignorant to certain topics. We will end up repeating history, unfortunately, and this has been said for centuries. And I think with technology and all the information we have access to, we have the power to change that. And we have the power to change that movement and to reframe history. So act with care every time you can.
Yes, we have the power to change things, you guys. I hope that we can spread the love and care as well. My Brave Healer community is a powerful community. And so if you guys are watching today, instead of just scrolling on by after you watch, how about sharing this out? How about emailing it to a friend? How about posting it on social for us? And when you all do that, it starts to spread that love and care. We really would appreciate it in this instance. And Lana, you have my love and very best wishes in any small way I can do this with you. I'm happy to be that partner. And we're happy to be sending, a check your way too. We're going to use the proceeds of Amalia Makes a New Friend, you guys. So if you have a kid in your world and it's time to purchase that Christmas gift or whatever you want to do, right, for your library, for your school, for your kids that grandkids, now would be the time, because it's going to help Lana and the Ukrainians of Colorado. So Lana, thank you so much for what you're doing in the world, and thank you for being here today to share it with everyone.
Of course, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you listening.
So you guys, we want to bring you the people and organizations doing good in the world and help to give back with donations from these book sales. So one more time, you can help Ukrainians of Colorado by donating directly. And you can purchase a copy of Jan Pratt's Amalia Makes a New Friend to do that as well. So we're going to hook you up down below with all the links, okay? All the good stuff. Please check out those show notes and share the video out, and you'll have more information about joining in this spread of the love and care, like Lana says. I love that. And lastly today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.